Välkommen Stora Aktiedagen I Stockholm. So let's give my warm welcome to the life science company Redwood Pharma and the CEO Martin Vidaeus. Welcome, Martin. I'll leave the stage for you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And you're enjoying Stockholm's morning rush hour, a month before Christmas. I want to say hello to all of our shareholders and those sitting at home watching via Zoom. Redwood Pharma has begun a new chapter in the development of ophthalmic therapies, addressing large unmet medical needs. And our lead program, RP101, is poised to enter phase 3 for the treatment of moderate to severe dry eye. And we are also now developing RP501 to capitalize on the commercial demand for differentiated dry eye products. The company develops ophthalmic drugs where there's large unmet market demand, and we have two products under development. The first is RP101, the company's lead program, which is based on an active biological pharmaceutical for the treatment of moderate to severe chronic dry eye in postmenopausal women. Our second product now is RP501, which aims to treat milder forms of dry eye in a wider patient population, both men and women using IntelliGel. I'm going to be focusing on these two products today, but that's not to underscore the IntelliGel platform, which we have an exclusive license for applications of IntelliGel in ophthalmology. I'm proud to say today that the RP101 program has never been stronger. It will be helping address dry eye disease that a lot of people suffer globally, about 344 million women and men. It's a serious unmet medical need, and we're targeting a well-defined addressable market. We are using a low-dose estrogen, a safe and effective active pharmaceutical ingredient, where estrogen today is a well-known drug found in over 500 different products globally. RP101 employs the novel drug delivery system IntelliGel, a platform suited for ophthalmic use. It controls the release of active substances on the front of the eye. We recently completed a phase 2 trial with RP101 and published successful data in March of this year. So we have strong phase 2 data, efficacy data, and a path to commercialization. We also are supporting it with a well-established safety profile, where estrogen has already been tested prior to this trial in 2 other trials in the US. And we also have strong intellectual property, both around the use of estrogen in the treatment of dry eye, as well as use of IntelliGel in the eye. The last 12 months have been quite vigorous in terms of business development and partnering. We've had a broad conference initiative where we were in Bio Europe at Hamburg, as well as at the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference in 2020 and here in San Francisco, where we met with several pharmaceutical firms to introduce the RP101 program. We retained a transaction advisor to help us in a structured process to assist in the partnering effort. And we've been discussing partnerships on a global, regional, and national levels with companies in these different regions of the world. And we're now planning for phase 3 start, as well as commercialization of the product. And that said, we're also evaluating new potential products that fit primarily within ophthalmology. Let's now take a deeper dive into RP101. We're developing a low-dose estrogen topical eye therapy for chronic dry eye in postmenopausal women. Today, there are no sufficiently reliable treatments that currently exist for women with moderate to severe symptoms. And we believe that RP101 will be the first hormone treatment of dry eye in this patient group. It targets specific underlying biological mechanisms and increases tear fluid production, which then minimizes symptoms of the disease. We recently completed the phase 2 trial here in Europe, which exhibited safety and efficacy with doses up to twice a day. And these results then confirmed the prior phase 2 results of the 2 trials in the US. Dry eye manifests itself because of an unstable tear film, and this is caused by many different factors, including imbalances in hormones. And this is what we're focused on at Redwood Pharma. We know that estrogen is vital to the health of cells in and around the eye, and we know that there are estrogen receptors in and around these glands that produce the critical components of the tear film. So the medical hypothesis is that if we apply estrogen to the front of the eye, we can then trigger the production of the three vital components of the tear film, which is the mucin layer, the aqueous layer, and the lipid layer. So by applying estrogen, we can then help restore the tear film, stabilize it, and minimize or eliminate the effects of dry eye. The current phase 2 trial that we performed and published data on builds upon 2 prior trials in the US. The current trial tested estrogen in this IntelliGel formulation in 104 different patients, and we have successful and very strong data. We feel that we'd like to just present again in some detail. The first endpoint was the tear fluid production measured by the Schirmer test. This slide presents this, where there are 3 active groups that all improved over the 90-day course. And even though they didn't receive or reach the primary endpoint, the random primary endpoint that we had then established, they all represented a large % increase over baseline. If we look at the onset of action here, we see that the Schirmer test was revealing a high production of tear fluid as early as day 14, where today there are competitors don't act that quickly. Today, the leading products such as cyclosporin take weeks to come into effect and maybe months. So here we saw a very positive action. And another aspect is that we maintain this efficacy throughout the 90-day course. Here we see that the highest dose in the blue line, as you see, the group 3, produced 150% increase of tear fluid from baseline, and this is quite impressive. The second endpoint that I like to present is a symptom. This is the feeling of dryness measured by the Sandy test, and here we see also the 3 active groups improving over the 90-day course. Early onset by day 30, and continued maintained action of effect all the way through day 90 when the trial ended for each patient. So here we have 2 measures among a whole basket of measures that also improved significantly. So here we feel we have compelling clinical data. So the conclusions from the RP101 phase 2 trial are that we demonstrated efficacy and safety of a local low-dose estrogen with 1 or 2 drops a day, which I think demonstrates that we can actually provide convenience for patients. This is critical for them when you want to keep the number of instillations a day to a minimum level. It builds upon a larger body of evidence of the mechanism, where we confirm then the 2 prior phase 2 trial results that were achieved in the US. And as the women responded so well on these basket of symptoms as well as objective endpoints, we confirm the target patient population, and it resulted in strong candidate endpoints for movement into phase 3. So there are quite a number of opportunities here for RP101. We feel that it'd be ideally positioned as a second-line therapy. Today, other than artificial tears, which are used frequently and ineffective, there are no trouble-free alternatives, treatments that are currently available for those suffering from moderate to severe dry eye disease. And this will address a serious unmet need for moderate to dry eye sufferers. That said, there's also opportunities for other lines of treatment, even as first-line artificial tears. One of the great surprises of our RP101 trial was that the IntelliGel vehicle, which was also used as our control, showed effect. IntelliGel improved symptoms for all measurements, including dryness and foreign body sensation. not as good as RP101, but it also had unexpected effect in all objective parameters. So if we look at how it affected the tear fluid production measured by the Sherman test, if you look at the graph on the right, you see that you had early onset at day 14, and that was significant, and maintained action throughout the 90-day period. Quick and impressive onset, as well as a safe product. So these results were so compelling that we decided to christen a new program, RP501, which we think is a better treatment for mild dry eye disease. It'll be a treatment for temporary relief. And it can help serve an aging population and reduce symptoms associated with, say, increased screen time in front of computers and mobile phones. And what it does is it creates high wetting on the front of the eye, which then keeps moisture at the front of the eye longer, which then potentially can reduce the number of installations per day. So RP501 demonstrated in the RP101 phase 2 trial that it can be used to reduce a broad spectrum of symptoms with 1 or 2 installations per day. And because it doesn't contain an active substance, it's ideal then to provide relief in both men and women of all ages. So how would we position this out on the market, and what are the opportunities? Well, the top 3 needs on the market today are, 1, that the therapy has to be effective for artificial tears, which this category would be. You need clinical evidence as well. There's a new regulatory initiative next year that's coming live that will require manufacturers of artificial tears to have clinical evidence proving that their products are effective. The economic investment for many of these companies to actually go into the clinic and test these products is so large that they will have to probably remove the products from market, really leaving a gap and an opportunity for companies like ours who have clinical evidence where we have already generated them from RP101. We can then more clearly differentiate ourselves vis-a-vis the competition. And the idea then, with effectiveness, we can then help the patient apply fewer installations per day, as it would increase the residence time in the front of the eye. So we feel that we have a great opportunity in front of us for 501 as well. We performed a market survey with positive outcomes here, where we looked at, or we asked 350 patients in the US and in the 5 largest EU markets about their interest in a product with a profile of RP501. About 40% of those patients indicated that they would be interested in switching. And that's a great number. RP501 could also garner premium pricing within this artificial tears category in the US and in the EU. So the opportunities are really significant for us. We could be faster to market, perhaps in 2 to 3 years or less in the EU and US. We would be addressing a market for men and women, a large addressable market for all ages, and this would help diversify the patient segments that we would be helping treat for dry eye. We would have a low cost of goods sold, which would then increase the profit margins. And we are leveraging the output of the RP101 program, that is invested capital already, to support the regulatory needs of RP501. So it's a win-win. We've already made probably the biggest investment in terms of development, and we can piggyback those benefits from RP101 into this project. So 501 as well as 101 have a strong clinical case and a strong business case. What about the market, the dry eye market, and how does it look? Well, both the market for RP101 and 501 are large. The market for RP101 today is estimated at $3.1 billion in size, where the competing therapies are anti-inflammatories, secretagogues, punctal plugs, and others, and that's expected to grow to $5.8 billion in 2030. We are going to be addressing a market with about 10 million sufferers, women, who are the predominant group of sufferers within dry eye, about 10 million of those in both the US and Europe. 501 will be entering a market dominated by artificial tears, and that is valued today at around 2.2 billion US and will be growing to 2.9 in 2030. So both products will be competing in market segments that are growing and large. A question. You know, we have the business case and we have a clinical case, a very compelling clinical case. Is there interest, I guess is the question, is there interest among physicians and patients for these two products? I can say the answer is definitely yes. We've recently conducted market surveys for both RP101 and 501 to understand how attractive the products are. For our 101, there's a high intent to treat among physicians in the EU and US. When it comes to 501, among the patients, there is a high intent to switch. I think that this interest among these patients and physicians is helped by the simplicity of a medical hypothesis for both of these products, which are considered self-evident. In the case of 101, it makes sense that you apply estrogen to the front of the eye when you have deficiency, which causes dryness, right? Restoring the tear film. On the case of 501, it's keeping moisture on the eye longer and lubricating the eye. So I think this fact will help these two products penetrate the markets in these two geographies. The studies also confirm that the 101 product will be able to garner high pricing compared to cyclosporin today on the market, or lifitegrast, and this means high gross margins. And for 501, we will also garner premium pricing. So this interest will be fueled again by market drivers, several market drivers on the market. First of all, dry eye increases with age, and we see that the older you become, the more susceptible you are for dry eye disease. LASIK surgeries, which are also popular, that deal with refractive changes to the cornea to help patients restore their sight, that often results in dry eye, temporary dry eye, as well as some long-term dry eye. Rising air pollution levels also are a cause of dry eye. As well as, so these are three factors that can help stimulate the use of dry eye products, but also the advances in treatments of dry eye. The more treatments, the growing number of eye care centers will also fuel this interest. So we feel that the interest in 501 and 101 are enormous at this point. So, what are the activities? How do they look for the next 12 months for Redwood? Well, for 101, RP101, we're going to continue partnering discussions. We're going to perform additional testing to expand potential market and to include contact lens users, as well as prepare for start of phase 3. For RP501, we will be leveraging RP101's phase 2 results and accelerate to market. And more specifically, that means conducting a stability study to establish primary packaging. We will then execute or complete limited in vivo and in vitro studies for the EU CE mark, and we will refine our regulatory approach for introducing the product into the US. That said, we will also establish GMP production, as well as find a commercial partner in the EU and US for the program. And lastly, with IntelliGel, we will complete supplementary tolerability testing of the product and studies, or the platform, and studies including contact lens users. So, to wrap up the presentation, we're going to continue delivering business value through development of these assets and move to monetize them through partnering. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Martin. Please welcome over to this side of the room. So, thank you so much for your presentation. Would it be likely that you will have the commercial agreement with the partner before phase 3 start or after, would you say?
That's difficult to say. We are actively involved in finding a commercial partner that can, provide expertise within the development in phase 3, perhaps even provide some regulatory insight. It's difficult to say. These processes take a while. They take 6 to 18 months, and we're very methodical in our approach and optimistic.
Okay, thank you. When would you say, when is it likely that you will enter the phase 3 for RP101?
I think we have a strategic decision in front of us. At this point, what we're trying to do is to bring value to the product through some basic testing at this point. As I said in the presentation, we have some tolerability testing with IntelliGel intensive use in patients that can help expand the market for us, as well as look at contact lens users and see how IntelliGel works on the eye. These are critical questions that need to be answered, and there's also some other tolerability testing that need to be done before we start phase 3. So we can actively work on preparation. I can't say what the timing of the phase 3 start will be, but a lot of it hinges upon the success of us finding a partner in the short term.
Okay, and what is the best scenario? When could it be? At the
well,
earliest?
the best scenario would be that would happen.
Could you start tomorrow?
Yeah,
or
it would be to start tomorrow. But I think we have to be quite practical about this issue, and we are in discussions with other companies right now. We need to see what kind of resources they can bring to bear on the product, or on the project, I should say, and based on that, those discussions and where the market is in general, I think we'll have to make a strategic decision about how to go forward.
Okay, I will. My last question about this, and then I will leave you. When do you believe we will see the RP101 on the market?
Yeah.
Also impossible, of course, but can you elaborate a little bit on this?
Well, I think we have to be. You have to look at the overall clinical plan for phase 3. I think that it'll take some time to get into the clinic. I think there's a tolerability study that needs to be performed, or a toxicology study that needs to be performed, and I think that would take a year. It would take a couple of years, basically, to complete the trials, the clinical trials for phase 3, and then you would need to seek approval. So I would say between 4 to 5 years, this product could be on the market.
Okay, let's take a short break from the research discussion and focus on the financial situation.
Yeah.
In the end of September, you had like 2.7 million Swedish kronas in cash, and after this period, you received 1 million in Swedish crowns in the warrant TO3 teckningsoption from the shareholders. So you also have a loan that will be repaid before 30th of November. That is from 4.5 million. So how long will this money be sufficient to run the operations, and how will you repay the loan? Will it be in cash, or will you pay with shares?
Right.
2 questions, but first, how long will your money be sufficient for your operations?
I think we had, at the end of September, I think we had about a little over 8 million in cash, actually.
Okay.
So I just to make a minor adjustment there. We have a great relationship with Forma Nordov, who provided us with a bridge financing. We asked them to extend the loan and for the repayment. Clearly, if you look at the numbers today, you see that we're going to need money sometime in the near future. We haven't gone out with anything publicly right now about our next financial step, but we are clearly going to need more money for the remaining activities for RP501 as well. So I think that we're always looking at keeping the operation going, building value, and when we can go out with with plans, announced plans, we will do that.
Yes, of course. So you just still haven't decided how you will repay the loan?
I can't go into any details, but I can tell you that we're always looking to keep operating and building value.
I see. How all these people that are suffering from dry eyes today, you are talking about how many are they again? 345
There are 344 million total, yes.
Yeah, in the States and
globally.
Globally, okay. Yeah. So how are they treating this today, since you say that there are no actual treatments available? How are they treating?
Yeah. Well, most patients go first to the pharmacy, and they buy artificial tears, these saline drops, which they can drop up to 10 times a day, and at the worst case. If they have more severe types of dry eye, they go to the second line of therapy, which is dexamethasone, which is a corticosteroid that can help reduce inflammation. And then third line is cyclosporin or lifitegrast as well, and then you have other fourth lines of therapies. But these therapies, they don't help women primarily with dry eye that are due to estrogen deficiency. Okay. Women are the dominant share of the sufferers.
Postmenopausal
women, exactly. Yeah. So this is why we think that our RP101 is ideally suited, because it actually addresses this hypothesis that that if women go through menopause, the amount of systemic estrogen dips by 90%. And that's why you understand that tissues in and around the eye or in the body for women dry up. And just like estrogen today is used for vaginal atrophy, we're piggybacking on the same metaphor, because the same cell types are in the eye. Okay. And it makes sense then, by applying estrogen in the eye, you can then keep those cells healthy and stimulate the production of the tear film and keep it stable.
Can you say anything about how likely do you think that this group of women are to ask for and test this new type of treatment?
Yeah, we've talked with ophthalmologists in the U.S. and in Europe about it, and what we see is that these women, they don't have any alternatives today that are actually functioning. What we're doing is applying a very low dose of estrogen to the front of the eye, without any systemic effects. That we saw that in the phase 2 trial, and based on the results of the market survey, we think that there'll be a great market acceptance.
And will it be a prescriptive drug, or how will you distribute?
It'll initially be a prescription-based drug, and then the hope would be that after years of use on the market, that it could probably move into an OTC type of product, but that will only come after it's proven safe and effective in a longer use.
And I understand that this is really early to talk about the price tag, but can you say anything about the price and maybe compare it with the existing, artificial tears and so on?
Well, let's remember that this is a prescription-based product, and today Restasis and Xiidra that are sold in the U.S. and in the case of both Restasis and Xiidra, they're sold in the U.S. They garner around, I think, gross a little around $3,000 a year annually for the use, and we expect ourselves to be able to be priced, or RP101 to be priced at the same number. Okay. That translates to around 2,200 euros in Europe per year.
Since you are targeting the cause for this, maybe it's not that. How long will they use the products? I mean, would it be enough for them to buy this once and then, hey, hallelujah, I've cured my dry eyes, or do they have to to buy it again?
Yeah, this does not cure the disease. There's nothing that cures the disease. What we have is a solution to help them with their daily problems. And for women, this will be a product that they take twice daily for the rest of their lives.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. So what is your main, what are you working hardest with at the moment?
Well, our focuses are, as I said at the end of the presentation, with 101, it's trying to find a commercial partner for 101, and we're actively involved there. We are preparing for the phase 3 start, as well as we're going to be performing some limited testing in Europe here to look at expanding the potential market for 101 by looking at the intense use of IntelliGel in the eye, and to look at the compatibility with contact lenses. As 20% of the total market are contact lens users, it would expand the revenue potential for RP101 if we can prove that it's also compatible.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so good luck with all this important
Thank you
work.
so much.
Thank you, Martin, and see you next time.
Okay.
Stay safe.